Fuck one, get the back for later. Get your calculator. The head the camel takers. How many heads I had to sever. After niggas like you.
Big Punter's Puerto Rican. Edward James Olmos is Mexican. Al Pacino is like Italian and Irish or something, but he's not Cuban. So I guess what I'm saying is, what it seems as though it's something that people have not been paying attention to, and I have. And now it's just starting to come to light that Miguel Cotto is not Mexican. He's not a Mexican. So why do you think this guy, who is known for when it comes to negotiations, no matter if he's happy or not, he's still gonna give you a hard time? So what makes you think that he is happy or is fine with Canelo? May 2nd is my date. I'm going to fight Miguel Cotto on May the 2nd. So you got Cotto sitting home, stone-faced, looking, and he's just getting pissed in his head, but not showing no emotion. Because he's thinking to himself, and this is just the way Cotto is perceived, is like he's not A-side. I am A-side. I don't care where this pay-per-view buys is. And then Cotto's the champion, but there's a good chance the fight might be at 154 to see if Canelo can still make that 154. Because remember, when Canelo fought Alfredo Angulo, the day of the weigh-in, Canelo could not make 154 pounds. So then they tried to trick us the day of the weigh-in and said that the fight was always scheduled for 155. But then we find out later on that Angulo was paid some money for Canelo missing the weight. So you got Freddie Roach, who is a catchweight master. You got Freddie Roach, and then who is known for that. Like, for example, if it's a fight at 160 pounds, Freddie Roach advised Miguel Cotto, all right, let's start at 154.15. They'll be like, they'll try to say catchweight 154.15. And then, they'll keep going up. They'll be like, all right, 154.8, or we walk. They'll leave for like 2-3 days. When they come, like, it's crazy because when you look at Canelo, in my opinion, will bring more to the table as far as money than Cotto. That's just my opinion. They both need each other, of course. They are in a situation where they have a super fight that rivals the super fight. You have that Puerto Rican versus Mexican rivalry, but once again, Miguel Cotto, he's thinking to himself, well, wait a minute, I usually fight in June. What about Puerto Rican Day? You're going to forget about the Puerto Rican Day? You're going to forget about the Puerto Rican Day? So it also would be bragging rights if you beat up a Mexican on a Mexican holiday. Just like if Canelo beat up a Puerto Rican on a Puerto Rican holiday. So race is involved in boxing to an extent when it comes to stuff like that. But I ask now, I probably broke my flash drive. By the way, shout out to El Diablito Apparel. You got to see their gloves. Those gloves is fire. Type in El Diablito. Just look it up. Simple, easy work. So I think to myself, and no, I'm not no goddamn Illuminati or devil worshiper. Sometimes I'll be wearing that just to fuck with people. But listen, Cotto is in a situation where he's on his last legs. He knows it. He wants to have 2, maybe 3 big fights, and then he's done. So he's already, as long as he wants to be a WBC champion, he's going to be haunted by Gennady Golovkin and fans hounding him, saying, you're not a real middleweight. We know you're not going to fight Golovkin. But what the WBC did, which is once again something that's been very rare with the WBC, they've made Golovkin a mandatory to Cotto. So what that means is Golovkin won the interim belt from Marco Antonio Rubio in October. Then now in February, he's fighting a silver, basically #1 contender in Martin Murray, who should have beat Sergio Martinez before Cotto did. And then after that, there was a clear path. Nobody in the way for Golovkin versus Cotto. Now, Oscar De La Hoya said that they've agreed to the terms of Miguel Cotto. We don't know if the venue or arena or the date have been agreed on. I guess they were talking about money. They got that part out of the way. You know, maybe weight. They got that part out of the way. I don't think Canelo would mind fighting at 154 or above at 160, whatever the case may be. You know, I think that the fight's going to be at 154 personally. Then win or loss for Cotto, he still got that big fight with Golovkin. But depending on how he loses, if he loses to Canelo, you know, then, you know, you don't know how that's going to play into whether he'll fight Golovkin or not for that WBC title. So I don't know if this is what if this is what Cotto wanted, is to have like this, you know, situation with these two great fighters that he has to fight in 2015. Now, will Cotto do something like, will he fight 3 times? Will he have a warm-up fight? Because remember, he was supposed to fight in December. He was supposed to fight this month. He was supposed to fight December the 6th or the 13th. And Canelo was supposed to fight either the 6th or the 13th. Most notably, he was supposed to fight on the 6th against Cotto, but he got injured. So what I'm asking you is this. Will Cotto fight in January or February, you know, and then fight in May or June, you know, and then be done, you know, and then have to fight Golovkin at the end of this year, you know, or maybe very early 2015? Do you see Cotto fighting 3 times, you know, in 1 year? And how about this? Will Cotto even take a bout before going into the Canelo bout? Will Cotto take a bout with Canelo without a fight before? So basically he'll be off from June till May, you know, basically a year. So going from Sergio Martinez, which was an easy fight for him, to this. And Cotto, I mean, I remember Canelo already fought twice this year. Alfredo Angulo and Arizlan de Lara. He was going to fight 3 times in 2014, but he's young, you know, so we're going to leave that alone. But the path for Cotto, it seems as though he has to fight Canelo. If not Canelo, well, then might as well just fight Golovkin. Golovkin beats Martin Murray. You know, okay. Now, this is something people haven't been thinking about, and I haven't been hearing anyone talking about it. Golovkin is being built for the East Coast in New York. Had a very good outing in New York when he fought. Who was that? Forgot who he fought. He fought Rubio over there. I forgot. I'm sorry that I forgot. Oh, Daniel Gill. Real deal Gill. So you got Golovkin, who's been, you know, being promoted heavily in New York. You got Puerto Rican Day Miguel Cotto, who Madison Square Garden, he's only lost 1 fight in Madison Square Garden out of like 10, I think. And that 1 fight was against Austin Trout. You have to think, well, since he's mandatory, wouldn't, you know, the same money may not be there, but he'll be fulfilling an obligation. You know, it's tough. Because it's hard for me to understand or believe that the deal is done because, well, what's the venue? You know, nobody's talking about what venue. They're saying, well, Madison Square Garden, in LA, in MGM Grand, in Cowboy Stadium. They need to put it in Cowboy Stadium, my personal opinion. They need to put it somewhere with 100,000 people, wherever the case may be. We don't know about that. We don't know what the weight is going to be, whether it's going to be a middleweight or junior middleweight. So when I'm hearing the deal is done, I'm like, I don't understand, you know, like if this is true or not. It's too much, many loose ends. But anyway, I'm T-Street Controversy. This is T-Street Controversy Live. Who do I think is going to win? You know, it's a tale of 2 fighters. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to watch Cotto versus Sergio Martinez, then Cotto versus Mosley, then Cotto versus Foreman. Canelo, I pretty much know what he's going to bring to the table, but if they were to fight, I see a lot of movement from Cotto and Cotto winning on the cards, but maybe going down. You know, at least once, maybe twice. I see Cotto pulling out a tough decision to the point where he probably get his ass beat. And don't forget, Cotto hasn't really got his ass beat as of late, you know, as far as Austin Trout. He just lost that fight. You know, Delvin or Edwin, whichever Rodriguez. Delvin. It was Delvin Rodriguez. He won that fight. Then Miguel Cotto. Then Antonio Margarito. So basically the last ass whooping he took was from was from Pacquiao. So he's been known to be through wars, but I see Canelo's going to take him through hell, but Cotto just pull him through, as far as skill-wise, because Cotto has a nice punch output, and also Cotto has a nice variety of punches, and his signature punch is the left hook to the body. I'm going to play some fucking Fight Night. His signature punch is the left hook to the body. But as far as the jab, and speed, I'm gonna give it to Cotto. But as far as power, if you don't know Canelo's not throwing no jabs. Canelo was going out there to seek and destroy. Body shots, he's throwing all his power into them. Don't be surprised if when the fight comes around, if it does come around, hopefully, we start hearing shit about gloves in this fight too, and ring size and all that shit. I'm talking about when it comes to, negotiations. So, I guess I'm going to leave it at that. Please subscribe to Street Controversy, RealCombatMedia.com. And what I do is I cover every single major fight live. So basically, until Canelo and Cotto get in the ring, I'll probably do maybe 30 videos. So what I'll do is probably a video like every 2 weeks or some shit like that. Just keeping fans updated on what's going on. I'm going to do some paperwork, play some video games. Oh, I got a new game. I'll show y'all real quick. I'll be gaming now. Like that. Please subscribe.